Hey, what's going on? In this video, I want to talk about how to use Funk Drummer with Loopy Pro. And I love the two Lumbeat drummer apps that I have. I got Funk Drummer and I have Pop Drummer. And the difference between the two is that Funk Drummer is an inter-app audio app and Pop Drummer is an AUV3. So the AUV3 is a bit easier to work with. That said, Funk Drummer's got some great tones, great beats built in, great sounding sets. And using it's a little bit of a challenge. It's not too bad. You gotta work with MIDI. I'm going to show you how I've got a template set up here to do that. And I also want to show you how to load Funk Drummer because this can get a little funky. Sorry. So I'll remove the Funk Drummer that I have there just to talk quick about the template that we're looking at. I've got ToneX loaded and I've got Tone Stack Pro for my bass tone. So this is my guitar tone, and then when I toggle the Tone Stack Pro on, we've got bass. So let me clear out the stuff I have recorded in there earlier. All right, so we don't have we don't have Funk Drummer loaded, and we got to take care of that. Now here's step number one: is you want to start Funk Drummer usually before you start Loopy Pro because it's an inter-app audio. Now this may not work. It may work perfectly, and it might not work. So let's see what happens. I'm going to come back to the mixer. I'm going to click the little plus sign. Let me drive with the mouse here, so maybe you can see a little bit what I'm pointing at. Click the plus sign to add, and I'm going to add an inter-app audio input and scroll down to Funk Drummer. And great, it didn't work. So that what this is showing you with that little exclamation point or bang icon there is that this did not work. So we could click this and try to reload. Didn't work. Here's what to do next is just stop Funk Drummer completely, start it again. Okay. Go back to Loopy Pro and click that icon again, reload. There it is, it's loaded. So I'm actually glad I caught that. Sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. Got my bass tone on there. Let me turn that off. Actually, I think I'll record bass first anyway, so I'll leave that on. All right, so let me show you how this template is set up. Now, there is a template online by Edward Spiegel, who is a super guy, man. He is on the Loopy Pro Facebook group, on the Loopy Pro forum. Helps so many people. This guy's awesome. He put together a template to work with the Lumbeat apps. I think it's called Lumbeat Buddy. I have loaded it and looked at it. He loads Loopy Pro as an AUV3, and then you can control the Lumbeat apps from that window and set up presets and what have you. It works great. I'm not going to do exactly what that does. I'm going to show you a different way. Well, sort of the same stuff, but just a way to access it in a different way. So I've got some buttons set up here that send MIDI commands to Funk Drummer. And I want to talk about that because there's some disagreement in what MIDI commands you're supposed to send. And I'll show you that here. So I've got a start stop, which I pretty much just use the clock for that. So that's what we'll use for that. I've got a couple of presets, disco, I call this, Fusion AC, and Funk X2 Playful. I'll show you how those work first. So over here in, I'm going to have to use my hand for this. It's just too slow with the mouse. Over here in Funk Drummer, you could see you've got your banks and your rhythm and which kit you're using, but we'll just concentrate on bank and rhythm. So to figure out how to set those, you go up here to the MIDI and you'll see that it has this listed here. Let me find that. Okay, over on the right side, I will wave around that with the mouse. Bank, CC32, rhythm, CC0. So what that means to you is this. I'm going to go to canvas mode so you can see this. When we want that disco, we're going to send CC32, set the bank, and we're going to set it to a value of 3. And I want to show you how that's numbered over in Funk Drummer real quick. So over in Funk Drummer, I'm going to go back here. The banks start at 0. That's your favorites up there, the star. 0, right there. 1, 2, 3 is disco funk. Now the rhythms, this is empty up here at the top, so they start here with the party is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so when we specify the rhythm, the next one, so we just did, sorry, I'm all over the place, but we just did CC32 value of 3 to set the bank, and then we set the rhythm, which is CC0 value of 6. You have to set both of those. If you just set the bank, it's not going to change because you have to set the bank and then tell it which rhythm from that bank you want. That's an important thing to keep in mind. Okay, let me go back to Loopy Pro. So that's how these buttons are working. They're sending CC32, which bank and which rhythm to set. This one here as well. Okay, toggle HR. Let's look at what that's sending. Sending C#3 note 49 to Funk Drummer. C#3. Keep that in mind because it doesn't exactly line up. So C#3, that was, I'm calling that toggle HR. Let's go over here and look at the MIDI commands. Right. Toggle HR. Note D flat 2. Over in Loopy Pro, that was C#3. So Funk Drummer's using flat instead of sharp for the accidentals. That's, I guess, just a preference of the app developer. Loopy Pro's using sharp. So I could figure out that D flat is C#. But this one says 2, that's the octave it's in, and Loopy Pro said 3. It's off by 1. And apparently that's commonplace and accepted or acceptable that app developers use different definitions for the octave, which, as kind of a new person to all of this, makes no sense to me. Like, we've got this incredible communication standard of MIDI, yet we can't agree on which octave is which. So that being the case, I like how Loopy Pro says note 49. That doesn't leave much wiggle room. Note 49 is note 49. It would be great if the app developers just didn't use C# or D flat and just said note 49. That would work better for me. Anyway, that's what's going on. It's off by 1, and the flat, it's flat. We're using flats for the accidentals in Funk Drummer and sharp in Loopy Pro. So there it is. Okay, so that toggles the, I think it's that toggle hi-hat and ride. And what that sounds like is this. I'll kick that off. That's toggle ride hats up here. That's that sound. So when we send that MIDI command from Loopy Pro, it'll hit that button for us and give us that variation. And what I love about Funk Drummer is it just sounds like a real drummer. Like, it's got that swing to it, which you can adjust, by the way. But it also just has this kind of randomness to it that just sounds great. And by adding the toggle ride hats and toggle cross snare, let me get to that. So we'll go over here, toggle HR over there, and toggle cross snare is over there. And like, why is toggle HR over here and toggle cross snare over there? I don't know, but there it is. So this is note E flat 2, D# 3 in Loopy Pro. Let's check it out. So let's go over to that button, toggle cross and snare, and it's D# 3, so it's off by 1, and the sharp flats, you got to figure that out. Note 51 would have prevented this. We've also got this XY control here, which is programmed in this template here to change the jam and intensity. So you'll see here, jam is along the X-axis as I move that, and intensity is on the Y-axis. So over here in the template, send CC1 when the X value changes with the value of the change. So when the X value on the XY control changes, send between 0 and 127. So 0 being off, 127 being on. And CC2 sends between 0 and 127. So when we play that with our template, we can adjust this from our template. Let's check it out. Okay, so another thing you could do here in Funk Drummer, even though it's an inter-app audio, is that it knows that it's being controlled by Loopy Pro. So it puts a little Loopy Pro icon. You can click on that to go back to Loopy Pro. All right, so that covers, I think, everything. We've got the fill with the greater than and the play and the stop. And just for completeness, those are found in the MIDI table over here. Fill with the greater than, fill, regular fill. And you can add more if you like. I'm not going to distribute the template. Again, by the way, the template's not that useful. I think by watching this, you can create your own template and get that sorted out. And it's probably better to do that yourself. So let's check this thing out in practice. I'm set at 90 BPM, 2 measures. Got my bass tone on, I think, still, right? All right, let's start up Funk Drummer, and then we'll kick in the bass track. Guitar. I made a mistake, and I'm gonna leave this in the video because this is a common thing that I do apparently. I left Funk Drummer sending its audio to the loops. So it recorded the Funk Drummer as we were recording the bass in addition to the bass, and then it sounded doubled up. So I want to turn that off. I want to set the destinations for Funk Drummer to none, so it's just playing and we're controlling it with these buttons. So again, I'll leave that in so you can watch the mistake. Let's kick it off, and then we'll do the bass, and then put some guitar right after that. There it is, we're ready to go. So now we can mess around with the Funk Drummer here. So we can toggle the hi-hat, right? Cross the snare. Throw in a fill. We can use the X and Y control. Turn up the jam and intensity with this. Add another fill. I love the fills in Funk Drummer. So they're just tasty. turn that off. When I use this in my actual templates, I've got stuff set up for my MIDI pedal, so I'm turning stuff on and off with the MIDI pedal, but I didn't want that to be the focus of this video, so I was just running it all by tapping, and I hope that, you know, keeping the MIDI pedal out of it, it reduces some of the confusion of the other stuff that's going on. But it's really pretty trivial just to map these buttons to your MIDI pedal, switch in profiles in and out, depending on what situation your song is in or where you're at in your song. I love being able to control Funk Drummer from here. Funk Drummer has that human-like feel. It's not, you know, quite random, but it just has a great feel to it. And the other app that I have, the other Lumbeat app, Pop Drummer, same thing, different kind of beats. I like them both. I use them both. I wish Funk Drummer was an AUV3. That would make it a bit easier to use, I think, to program anyway. But it's functional like this, well worth the money, just to have that kind of randomness in there and not have to deal with programming drums and what have you. I do have an app that I use quite often, Digistix 2, I like, and I do some programming with that. I've got a couple other drumming apps. I got One Shot, which I use with this drum pad here, but for different types of stuff. So if I just want to like throw drums in a tune and without worrying too much about programming and what have you, I go right to Funk Drummer and Pop Drummer, control it with these MIDI buttons, and it sounds good to me. You know, that's what counts. It makes you want to keep playing, and if it inspires you to play, it's good. So yeah, I hope that was useful info for you. Do me a favor, subscribe to The Gurge. I've got more Loopy Pro stuff coming out, and you know, as we get closer to winter, I'm going to be doing some more garage stuff anyway. So if you were subscribed for the garage stuff, you'll get that. All right, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.